Please now welcome to the stage Mr. Jake Swartz and his thesis, Don't Compromise the Common Defense, the Christian Case for Restricting Refugee Migration from Unstable Muslim-Majority Countries.
$12 million. There are approximately 12 million refugees from the Middle East today. That is the population of both New York and Los Angeles combined. In recent years, conflicts in Middle Eastern countries such as Iran, Iraq, Syria, and Libya, due to terrorist groups such as ISIS, have caused these people to flee from their homelands. They are separated from their homes and their families, running from destruction and death. Imperiled, these people desperately flee, searching for refuge in nearby countries, even traveling all the way to Western Europe in great numbers. What is our duty as Christian citizens of the US to help these desperate people? It is our government's responsibility to protect our borders and determine who is allowed to enter. The US government has an undeniable responsibility to ensure the safety of our citizens from foreign entities. As Christians, Romans 13 tells us to submit to the governing authorities on these matters. However, particularly in America, we can be heard through both our voices and our votes, and should use that privilege in order to influence Christian attitudes and actions. Now, as Christians, you may think the best thing to do would be to open our borders to these people and welcome Middle Eastern refugees into the US. However, this is not the best solution, as it does not take into account the needs of both groups, the needs of US citizens for life and liberty, and the needs of refugees for peace and protection. This method of unrestricted refugee admission has already been tried in Western European countries such as Germany, France, Sweden, and the United Kingdom with minimal success. Both the refugees and the host countries were harmed from this approach. The refugees seclude themselves into ghettos where they are both separated from society and end up living off of welfare. The host countries have experienced massive increases in both terrorism and crime that have been proven to correlate with the vast admission of refugees from unstable Muslim-majority countries. An example of this would be the attacks in Cologne, Germany on New Year's Eve 2015, in which 1,200 women were sexually assaulted by roughly 2,000 men. And these men, as Cologne Police Chief Wolfgang Albers states, were undeniably refugees from unstable Muslim-majority countries. This, however, was not an isolated incident, and events like this have been occurring all across Western Europe. The demonstrated fact is that refugees from unstable Muslim-majority countries threaten the safety of people in the host country. Due to the vast number of refugees in need of immediate help, as well as the necessary screening process in order to make sure no hostile individuals enter our country, it cannot be thought that allowing any refugees into our country is a viable way of helping them. It is reasonable to expect that the same attacks and struggles Europe has faced will be ours if we decide to follow their example of allowing unrestricted refugee admission from unstable Muslim-majority countries. And while it may make us feel better to allow some refugees into our countries, this would not mitigate the risk towards Americans, nor would it resolve the problems for large numbers of refugees. Also, it is simply not the best solution, as for the people it is targeting, they would feel alienated by the society around them. There is another way to help these people while maintaining our own safety, and it comes in the form of refugee camps located in the same region of the world in which they are most familiar with and comfortable in. Now, when I say refugee camps, you may be thinking of run-down plastic tarp cities built inside a bomb crater in which no one would ever want to live. This is not what I'm referring to. Instead, I refer to the thriving and safe communities which can be made possible and have been in the past by both the United Nations and the United States military. Under American military supervision, we can create well-organized camps which can allow the families, lives, and hearts of the displaced people to be resettled and renewed. We have seen international aid organizations like the UN High Commission for Refugees succeed in creating large-scale camps, as well as the United States. Major David French observed camps in which the United States Army built in Kurdistan and noted that in the past, we have established and created vast safe havens where persecuted people can both live and thrive. And it is exactly the means and motivation to thrive which makes this the best solution for the refugee problems of our time. We all know that the American people are far from perfect. However, we have shown our Christian values by establishing the most generous nation on the planet. America, like no other country, struggles to find solutions to world problems that align with our high moral principles, such as creating vast safe havens for refugees abroad. And those principles would not be compromised by a decision to close our borders to those whom we know could be dangerous to us. The safety of our citizens could be compromised should we decide to act without careful thought. America can and should be both compassionate and wise in its dealings with foreign refugees. Thank you.